We were always taught that only the rich and powerful were actually buried in pyramids, but a recent discovery may completely disprove that. And inscriptions hidden deep inside the Great Pyramid hint that it wasn't built by slaves, but by skilled workers who were honored like kings. And a giant unexplained void was discovered inside the pyramid. What's inside it? Find out. These are discoveries made inside the pyramids that could change history. So we were always taught that the pyramids were for the rich and powerful. Pharaohs, nobles, high-status types, but a recent discovery at an ancient burial site called Tombos in northern Sudan is making researchers rethink that. They found people buried in small mud brick pyramids who didn't exactly live lives of luxury. Some of the skeletons showed signs of hard physical labor, things like wear and tear on the bones, while others looked like they belonged to people who barely lifted a finger. Tombos came under Egyptian control around 3,500 years ago, during the height of Egypt's power. Over the years, archaeologists have found at least 5 pyramid tombs at the site. The biggest one belonged to Siamu, a pharaoh from the 21st dynasty. His tomb hasn't been fully excavated yet because it's too unstable. Still, researchers studied the skeletons buried in and around these pyramid tombs and noticed a pattern. Not everyone buried there lived the same kind of life. Some experts think the physically active people may have been servants, buried near their masters to continue serving them in the afterlife. If they're right, this could change a long-held belief that only the elites were buried in pyramids. A recent discovery inside the Great Pyramid of Giza might finally give us a clearer answer to the big question: who actually built it? For ages, people believed it was 100,000 slaves working around the clock for 20 years, but Dr. Zahi Hawass, one of Egypt's most well-known archaeologists, says the evidence points in a totally different direction. Using imaging technology to explore narrow chambers above the king's chamber, areas that are tough and dangerous to reach, Dr. Hawass and his team found inscriptions left by work crews over 4,000 years ago. And near the pyramid, they also found tombs of the workers themselves. These tombs weren't hidden away. They had statues of the laborers and showed signs that they were meant to last forever. As Hawass put it, if they had been slaves, they would never have been buried in the shadow of the pyramids. Slaves would not have prepared their tombs for eternity like kings and queens did. The team also found flint tools and pounding stones, plus evidence of a quarry just 1,000 feet away. Limestone was hauled in using a ramp. All of this paints a very different picture than we typically imagine. Instead of slaves, these were skilled workers who had proper tools, days off, and were even honored in death right next to the pyramid they helped build. Back in 2017, scientists found something strange hiding inside the Great Pyramid. A giant empty space sitting right above the Grand Gallery. It's now known as the Big Void, and it's huge, around 100 feet long. Nobody knew it was there, and to this day, no one really knows what it's for. It's not connected to any other chambers, and there's no clear way to get into it. The discovery came from the Scan Pyramids project, where a team used what's called cosmic ray detectors to scan the pyramid without actually having to go inside. The method picks up muons, which are tiny particles from space that pass through stone and help create a kind of 3D map of the inside. That's when they spotted this void. So far, no one's been allowed to drill or send anything in to check. It's just sitting there sealed off since the day the pyramid was built, over 4,500 years ago. It might not be, a secret treasure room, but also maybe it is. For nearly 200 years, a mysterious passageway inside the pyramid of Pharaoh Sahur sat untouched. First investigated in 1836 by British Egyptologist John Perring, the tunnel was buried in rubble, and no one was able to go any further. Perring believed it might lead to hidden storage rooms, but his theory was dismissed for decades, until 2019. A team led by Dr. Mohammed Ismail Khalid from Julius Maximilians University of Wurzburg started working inside the same pyramid. They hadn't been looking for hidden chambers or anything, they were just trying to stop the place from collapsing. But while clearing out the ruins, they ended up coming across that same passage Perring found all the way back in 1836. This time, though, they kept digging. At the end of the passage, they found 8 storage rooms. They're in rough shape, parts of the ceilings and floors are missing, but you can still see original pieces of the walls. So, after nearly 2 centuries, Pering's hunch turned out to be right.